Hi, it's Sandy Parker and welcome to Crafting for Almost Everyone. Today we're going to work on my birdhouses that I showed you in my haul video. I hope you'll stay tuned. So I've already started working on this one because it's kind of my favorite. I colored it. I painted it with this folk art milk paint from Joann's. It was on clearance for $4, and then I started looking at these stickers that I got from the Dollar Tree, and I thought they're too tall, but if I cut some of them out. So what I did was I cut this section out of this vase, then I cut the top section of the vase, and then I laid them on each other. So I'll show you. Wait, you can probably see that little piece right there? I just laid them together like that. And then what I thought I would do is put it as close to the bottom as I can, like that. And then what I'm going to do is take one of my flowers, and hopefully I can figure out one that is going to work for this. I thought about cutting the purple off of it and making it into a stem for one of these flowers that doesn't have a stem. So here's my plan. All right, let's go with that. Then let's see if I can pick this back up off of here. I think I'm going to have to make my stem a lot shorter too. So we're going to put my stem, lay that stem back on the backing in case I need it later. Let's see if I can make this a straight one. It's not bad. And then let's take this one, because it's got that orange and that purple in it. And we'll just put it like that. So that is one part of it. So then on this side, I think I'm just going to do a bird, because my birds are all going to be coming to play. Put that up a little higher, I think. Like that. Then let's do another one of these. Let's see. I could do this one. I don't know if it's too tall or too wide. No, it's not. It looks pretty cool. Well, the leaves might be too wide. Then I am going to cut this part of this leaf off because I don't think it'll do a good job of staying in place, wrapping it around the side. Well, that did pretty good. I mean, to make it still look like a leaf, shockingly enough. Let's see what the bird situation is like. Because the other side I have flowers. Let's see if I can make my birdie fit. This flower I think is perfect, and it looks really good with the vase. I think I gotta cut off a little bit of my sides. This vase has some kind of a cutout on it. And then we're going to put this little bugger right like that. Ooh, that would work right there. Okay, I've got a plan. Okay, let's see if this fits. This one is kind of cool because it tilts off to the side. Let's see if we can make this work. Not too horrible. Then I need to figure out a way to get this flower somehow to stay. So I have all of my stickers down the way I want it. I think the camera cut out just a little bit ago. And I think this is where it cut out when I was laying this flower down. And then I decided to put this bird over that one and then wrap it around the side. I hope it stays. I'm going to seal it with the Mod Podge Outdoor. Here's the deal about the Mod Podge Outdoor. Let me tell you a few things I've learned about it already. First off, what I learned is it takes, I think it's 28 days for it to cure. Okay, let me give you the 911 in this. You want to make sure that you allow 20 to 30 minutes to dry in between coats. And you want to apply a thin coat. And then you're going to cure it for 4 weeks. That means it has to sit for 4 weeks before it's really ready to be outside. But then you also need to apply a clear acrylic sealer over the cured Mod Podge to eliminate the tackiness. Well, let me give you a little scoop on tackiness. I made this one, and we're gonna do another one of these in a minute. But I made this one out of the box that Rich cut down. It's still, you can still see it's kind of hacked up, but let me tell you how sticky this is. This is just a piece of paper. Listen to how sticky it is. So you definitely, after it cures for the 30 days, you're definitely going to want to use a sealer on it. And it doesn't give me the scoop on what kind of sealer I need to put on it. It just says a clear acrylic sealer. So I'm going to make sure I do that. I do have this. I wonder if that's what this is. It's a gloss glaze. Does it say it's acrylic sealer? Well, it doesn't say it's an acrylic sealer. So I guess I'll have to buy an acrylic sealer to seal all these. But they are super sticky, and you're not going to want to put these outside with a bird trying to nest on it or in it and being stuck to it with their poor little feet. We don't want that. So with that being said, let me just show you the way I'm going to seal mine. I have a craft mat underneath my sealant. I want to show you one more thing about this. I'm not going to make you watch me seal the whole thing, but I am going to show you this part of it that's kind of weird. I know you've all seen Mod Podge. It's like the sealer of choice, but what you've never seen before, I don't think, is something as thick as this. It's kind of like whipped topping. No, more like frosting. Of course, it doesn't taste like that. Don't try it at home. You're not going to want to eat it, but it's very, very, very thick. If you see that, I can't even shake it off there. So when you put it on, although it says you're going to put on a thin coat, it's not that easy to do a good job of doing a thin coat when it's as thick as it is, because you have to get a lot of it on the brush in order to get it to be able to be brushed off. Because if you just have a little bit on your brush, you're not going to be able to get this to come off, if you know what I mean. Because it needs, you need quite a bit on there to get it to be able to be brushed around. So I'm not going to make you watch this, but I am going to come back once I have the whole thing sealed, so you can see what it looks like when it's done being sealed with one coat. I'm going to probably seal 2 or 3 coats, and the reason for that is, don't forget, when you put on these little stickers like I just did, you have to make sure that those stickers don't stick up above your outside of your Mod Podge, because if they stick outside your Mod Podge, then what's going to happen is you're going to end up having them come off. So you want to make sure that you're putting enough Mod Podge layers, not one layer, but layers over this so that it is like a flat surface when you're done. So let me come back after I'm done and we'll talk about it in a minute. Well, these are the this is one of the birdhouses that Rich helped me with, and it was an arrow. He cut off the pointy part and the tail of the arrow and made it into a box. He had a little issue with his cutting, but in the end, this is as close to a box as I'm going to get. And he did another one that I made yellow, and then I put a bird sticker on it, and I put a napkin that's striped. And I'm going to do the same with this one. I'm using napkins that I got at the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to show you how to separate napkins. If you've never seen me do this, I think it was Lindsay, the Frugal Crafter, that I saw do it, and I thought, geez, that's genius, because I've always struggled with getting it apart. You're going to use some washi tape. You're going to attach it to the back edge, and you're going to kind of pull on like that, very gently. These Dollar Tree napkins are much more easy to rip, so you want to be careful when you're doing the edges, especially because it has that perforation on the edges, and you don't want to have it tear, because you need this, almost this entire napkin to do this box with. Keep this layer to put on your lap in case you get sticky stuff on you and you need to get it off, or in case you just want to make sure that you can do a good job of keeping yourself clean. When I did the first one, what I realized was when I did the sides, I put them in a different direction than the rest of it. So it didn't bother me. I just thought I would tell you I didn't do that right. So and this is super, super sticky. You don't want to put this out until it's cured and until you put that sealer on it, because you don't want your birds to get their little feet stuck on your birdhouse. I painted this with an acrylic paint, and it was too bright of a blue, so I put a layer of white over it, and then I just dry brushed the two together, and it came out to be this color. It was a lot darker than this to begin with. Now, when you're going to do this, the way I did it the first time was I started my project on the bottom and I wrapped it to the front. So what I did was I took my Mod Podge, and this stuff is really thick, and you don't want to be cheap about this. You need to have a good coat on there, but remember, it needs to be able to dry too, so you don't want to put so much on that it won't dry. You can lay this up against one end and make it so that you don't have to cut one end of this, but if you do that, remember, these boxes aren't square, at least mine isn't, so you might end up having a little problem with having it be too short in one spot. So I'm going to just put mine up to the edge. Hold on, I'm going to turn it a little so I can see it. Okay. And then you're going to want to put it so that you have enough left over to, I have that little extra wood, we'll call it. I don't know what else to say there. I have this, Rich didn't cut it flat, so this part is flat, this part is not. So you have to make sure, if yours is like mine, that you're going to have to push it down so that it stays in place, if you're with me. Okay, now I'm going to throw it back on itself, and now we're going to do the very bottom. And again, not so much that it won't dry, but enough that your napkin will stick to it. Okay, then we're going to turn it. Now here's how I did this part the last time. I figured out about where my piece of twine was coming out, and I cut a little hole in the napkin about where that spot would be. We see where my little mark is right there. I'm going to take, this is just a craft knife, and I'm going to try and dig out a little bit of a circle there. I took my little twine and I squeezed it like this, and then I pushed it through my little hole. Try not to rip any extra napkin off. It doesn't matter if you have a bigger hole, but don't rip the napkin off, because you're going to want to lay this around that, like that. You want to lay it around your little twiny spot. We're going to have to do basically the same thing we did with the twine hole. We're going to do the same thing with our bird, our entry for our bird. I'm going to get that out of there. I don't want it to be too gluey in there. Now I have to figure out, I need my hole about right there. When I say about right there, I'm talking to myself and not you. You can always, as I told you before, don't take your excess napkin, don't pull it off. You want to leave as much of that hole that you made. You want to leave that napkin there so that you can wrap it around like I just did. I'm not worried about these. As I said, those holes don't bother me at all. Then I've got my craft knife, demon stick, and I'm going to try and do a little X here. And then what I'm going to try and do is, if there is enough glue in there, just lay it in the inside. Next up, we're going to take our scissors, and the scissors that work best for this are your fussy cutting, your paper crafting scissors, because it's kind of tricky to cut this napkin. I'm going to go just a little bit past the bottom edge. Now, if you want it to go in the same direction as your front, all you need to do, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take and cut this up right up to there. And then I'm going to take that piece off. If you, a lot of people, what they do to take off excess tissue paper is they take water and you put it right on the edge of where you want to get rid of it, and then it just kind of takes off like that. I'm going to make sure that this is got a lot of Mod Podge on it. And then I'm going to do my edges I don't know if you saw me do that. I'm going to pull my edges in like this. See how I'm doing that? Make sure you have a lot of glue there. Next up, I have this little piece right here that I'm going to lay over this. Right? Oh, I got to get that stripe lined up. Okay, next I'm going to cut off that extra piece on the front. So we're going to cut off the top piece. Just to be able to put the rest of it where I want it. I have this little piece. I'm going to just trim off the waffly edge. I think I should have enough. If I pull in my sides and put this piece down in the center, I should be able to make this work. So let's put some glue here that I'm going to put right there. Perfect. Well, as perfect as I can make it. That's our centerpiece. I'll lay this piece. Oh, I ripped it. I didn't mean to rip it. Oh boy. That piece there. The last thing we have to do is go over one whole coat of Mod Podge over the outer part. Since we already Mod Podge underneath, now we just need to Mod Podge on top of it. I'm going to start with this side because this is the part that we had some issues with where it ripped and I had to, fix the ripped part. You need to put enough Mod Podge on your brush that you won't tear the napkin. So at this point you need to have a little bit more rather than a little bit less. If you see inside our hole that our birds would go in, I don't know if you can see this or not, but I do have some napkin in there. If you want to have napkin go the whole way around in there, you can do that. It's just a little bit of a project. I did it with the other one. All I did was I cut a little strip of napkin and I went around in that little circle. Then, and this is the part that's hard to do, you're going to put this in. I'm going to start by putting it in, and I want to line it all the way up. Our goal at this point is just to let everything sit, and I'm still trying to just wipe off excess. I'm just going to let this sit, and I am probably going to be putting some of the stickers, the bird stickers on this that I used on the last birdhouse, because I think it makes it look cuter. I mean, it is just a square box. It'd be more fun if it was something else. So I'm going to try and add some friskiness to it. I let them sit. I've done a few coats of Mod Podge on them. I'm going to need to do a few more because I still don't have a flat. You can still feel the ridges of the stickers, and you don't want that. You want to be able to just feel a flat surface. And then once I do that, then I have to let it sit for, I think it's 30 days, is it? Yeah, 4 weeks you want to let it set for, so that they will cure, and then you put the acrylic sealer on it. It says apply the clear acrylic sealer over the cured Mod Podge to eliminate the tackiness, and believe me, these are tacky. I'm going to show you one little thing that is kind of important. Well, I'll kind of show you them in detail in a minute, but I want to show you something that is important when you're doing this. I don't know if you can see inside that hole, there's a little bit of paper from the napkins that's stuck, that's kind of over the back of it. What I did with the other one is I just ran my finger, hopefully you can see this, I ran my pinky around it enough that it basically tore away any excess napkin. You don't want any excess napkin. It's important that it's gone because you don't want your birds to be eating any of that Mod Podge or trying to make their nest out of Mod Podge, basically, because once they use their little beaks on that, you don't want them to end up having that little problem where they get Mod Podge in their mouth and it's sticky. So let me show you each one, all sides. This is clearly one of the ones that Rich cut. It was the arrow and now it's just a box. It looks good, I think. I liked, once I added the stickers on it, it made me a lot happier. And even if the birds don't use it, it's fun and frisky. Then the blue one that has the finger hole that I covered with my finger in the first video. This one is a little bit more abused than that one. And it had, when I covered it up, I think the napkin did a good job in conjunction with the color I painted it to cover up as many of the problems I had with it. And then the bird stickers did a really great job too. This is something, I'm never going to be able to fix that. So that's just something to live with. And I don't have a problem with that. I don't think my birds will either. Do you? I don't think so. Then last but not least, and certainly my favorite, is the yellow house that Rich didn't do anything with. This is the one that I bought at Joann's after clearance. I did find a link to one at Michael's that looks like this. I don't know if it's the same quality. I've seen birdhouses like this in other stores and they are really thin wood. They're cheap. They're like cheaply made. This is not cheaply made. It's a nice decent size wood container, and the wood itself is thicker. It's not a thin wood. So if you're doing this, look for one that's thicker and gonna hold up in weather. So what I did, I think you saw, I stuck the little stickers all around this, and some of them I modified, especially the vases and the flowers. And then the birds, some of them, like this one, I made the beak go around the edge of the next side. And then this pink one, the flower was humongous, and so I had to cut the flower down. I had to cut the leaves off of it and change leaves. I had to do all kinds of things to make that one work. But I really thought it was fun and I wanted it on there, so I was willing to do whatever I needed to do to make it work. This is the only one that has a little bit of an overlay on it, and that, by that I mean I have this bird is on top of this flower, and I liked that the opening had a bird and a flower on it, and that made me really happy. The top is very shiny from the Mod Podge. I didn't realize that the Outdoor Mod Podge was going to be a shiny one. I don't know if a clear acrylic sealer, if you can get that in a matte color. If I can, and if it would work, any of you know that, let me know in the comments below. If I sprayed a matte sealer on this, will it make it less shiny? Because I'm not crazy about this super shiny look. But all in all, I'm really, really happy with the way all three of them turned out. And last night, our bear came to visit and brought her 2 babies. And she pulled all of our bird feeders down and broke as many of them as she had to break, and just pulled off the rest of them. She really has trouble getting suet out of the containers, so she just takes those little mesh cages with her. I don't know where they end up, but she takes them with her every year. And the feeders, she only broke one of the feeders that I could tell, and the rest she just knocked around. But it was about 4 o'clock this morning. I got up to go to the restroom, and I looked outside, and I thought I either saw shadows or I saw baby bears. And so I woke up Rich, and we both went out, and the mother bear was laying on our patio eating. That's how lazy she is. She's just laying there having her dinner. She wasn't even working at it. And apparently that's how she taught her babies to eat, because they had a baby or a bird feeder between them, and they were laying there just kind of eating, having a little lazy little festival of food at the Parkers. And so today, Rich, we had one bag of corn left for the deer, and so today he took the bag of corn and laid it out back. So maybe the bear will leave our bird feeders alone and eat the corn, since our bird feeders are now empty. We're not going to fill them again because clearly the bear are back, but I like to distract them from being that close to my house, because where we feed them corn is about it's by a garage we have in the back of our property where Rich keeps his Mustang, and that's not anywhere near our patio where we have the bird feeders. The patio, on the other hand, is clearly right on top of our house, and I don't really want the bears to be there if I can avoid it because of the dogs. Anyway, with that being said, the mother did take a look at the one birdhouse I had out there, and she kind of meandered over, looked at it, sniffed it a few times, and then left. And that made me happy, because I thought, geez, if she starts destroying my birdhouses, I'm going to really be fit to be tied. But she left those alone, and then I, of course, don't have these up. They won't be up for 30 days, because I'm going to have to seal them, and then after that, they will be up. So I hope that you enjoyed this, that it gave you an idea of something fun that you can do with an ugly birdhouse if you have an ugly one. If you have a birdhouse already that's just plain wood, you could go to the Dollar Tree that is still open if you're out getting supplies to keep you in food and things for during this quarantine. It would be fun to get the dollar's worth of those stickers that go on the wall, and that's where I got all of my birds. So I hope you enjoyed this, that you give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Please tell your friends about me on social media, because you know I love that. And please stay inside, stay safe, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye-bye.